I just did a 4-part video series on why Prometheus was a bad movie and what could be done to make it a better movie. Basically making Prometheus a better movie. I'm going to just condense that into this shorter video segment. Basically the big thing in Prometheus that ruins the movie is the handling of one particular character. You tweak this one character in Prometheus and you create a different movie. And this character is Holloway. You tweak Holloway in a way that he becomes a Burke. You remember in Aliens, Alien 2, they had this character Burke who was sent there by the Whaling Corporation on the mission to the colony to sort of not only sabotage what was happening, or sabotage the goals of the Marine and the goal of Ripley to rescue the colonists, but also the Burke character had one goal. One goal was to bring back the alien species. And in creating that one goal in that one character, it made that character, Burke, major to the plot of Aliens. If you take Burke out of Aliens, you have no movie. It'll be one of those how it should have ended episodes where the movie is just 2 minutes because they get there, they realize the colonists are dead and they leave. And they maybe nuke the thing from outer space. But with Burke there, creates a little twist in the plot, creates tension early on, creates a lot of what's going to happen next in the audience's mind as you're watching Aliens. And Burke as a character is developed in a way that we hate him, but we love him because we understand what his purpose is. At first we don't know what's going on, but then we see him for who he is. And he's developed in a way that when we arrive to that conclusion of, oh my god, Burke is a douchebag, Burke is there as, a mole by the Whaling Corporation to bring back this alien species any way he could. We realize what his purpose is. We kind of hate him, but we understand him, so we love him. Holloway should have been treated the same way. Instead of a love interest for Shaw in this movie or some sort of science companion, sweetheart for Shaw, and Shaw is the main character. Shaw is the Ripley in Prometheus. Holloway should have been a Burke. To Burke, for Ripley, Holloway should have been for Shaw, the way Burke was to Ripley. And Holloway could have been handled easily. Holloway could have been hired by Whaling as a secondary opinion or someone to keep an eye on Shaw, and someone basically I would operate like Burke, to any means necessary bring back what you find to me, because Whaling, I need this for my company. I need this to I guess he wants to live longer. It's the whole mystery of what Whaling wants. He wants prolonged life. So bring back to me what you find. And in saying this, Whaling could be hidden in the ship, and he doesn't have to be revealed until maybe Holloway dies or something else come about. I'm going to go into that in a minute. Now, with Holloway being who he is now, like I'm presenting him to you, a lot of things happen. One, the first thing that you will see, you don't need Vickers in the movie anymore. In watching Prometheus, I watched it 3 times, and I realized, why is Vickers, the Vickers character in this movie, other than to provide, I guess, the extra spaceship, the detachment pod or whatever she has in her extra ship? She has no purpose in this movie. You could literally take her out of the movie and you'll have the same movie. The movie won't miss her at all. You have Captain Janek or someone else flamethrow Holloway when he becomes a zombie to death on the deck. Or have someone waiting there with a flamethrower and just like torch Holloway. It doesn't have to be Vickers. Take her out of the movie. Give David actually a more enhanced role in terms of what he does for Whaling. You don't need Vickers. If anything, having Vickers not there makes David's character a little bit more, I guess, enhanced for the plot, because David could do so much more with Vickers not there. In fact, what they could have done was make Holloway and Vickers one person. A Burke, kind of. A Burke person. Company person, science person. They're just to sabotage Shaw and bring back whatever they find. That's it. That's the first thing that happens. Second thing that happens when you create Holloway the way he is, you have early tension early in the movie, because Holloway could do something to sabotage the mission early on. When they come back from the caves the first time, Shaw brings back a head. All you have to do is make a situation where David opens the door comes up, everything in that room that's been sealed for 2,000 years start being affected. It doesn't mention everything is affected by them coming in there. Shaw finds the head on the ground. She's like, oh my god, we have to bring this head back. It's already decaying really quick. I have to bring this back to like do tests on it. Holloway now says, oh, you know what, I'm coming back with you. He just wants to keep an eye on her, maybe like do something. Maybe Holloway finds a bottle of the black goo. He looks at it. He's like, oh, I'm gonna bring this back, see what it does. Infects Shaw with the black goo back in the spaceship. Now Shaw becomes, I guess, she has the alien squid in her from drinking the black goo or whatever Holloway decides to do with it. And in doing this, Holloway infects himself. Now, this scenario creates a lot of new scenarios that make Prometheus a better movie. One, with Shaw now being infected with the alien squid in her belly, you can bring back Vickers into the movie and give Vickers a role as maybe an agent of Wayland who now wants to preserve the alien baby in Shaw to bring Shaw back in cryo to Earth or something. Oh, we have to put you in cryo, Shaw. We need this species alive. We need to keep it intact. Shaw now wants it out of her, obviously being the new Ripley. She just wants to cut it out of her. So now you have this conflict between Shaw and Vickers. That's not in Prometheus, but it's in the scenario I'm giving you. This scenario of tension makes Shaw, in the end, actually defeats Vickers, or guess what she wants, a stronger person, more believable person than someone who just cuts the alien out of her belly and runs around. Shaw is now a credible action character like Ripley was credible in Alien and Aliens. Vickers now has a purpose, and we understand her role, and now maybe we can like her even more because we know what her function is in Prometheus. It's that's it. She's not there being corporate and cold in one minute and then having sex with the captain next minute and telling Shaw and Holloway, don't bring back anything, don't touch anything, don't talk to anything unless you report back to me. She's not being that, which was fake and which was weak for her character. Now she has a stronger purpose. Third thing that happens with Holloway being that, now you create a scenario where Holloway gets infected because he's messing around with this goo, he's trying to find out what it does, infects himself, becomes a zombie. Now the black goo even has a purpose. Now we realize the black goo, when it's used for maybe a bad thing, it affects the person using it in a negative way. So Holloway being evil becomes a zombie. Shaw being innocent becomes pregnant with life. Hello? Holloway now becomes a zombie, starts killing off the minor characters, which is what Fifield did when he came back to the ship as a zombie. Now it makes more sense. When Fifield comes back to the ship as a zombie, that didn't make any sense to anyone. Hello? But with Holloway being a zombie, being this character that I'm presenting to you, now you have tension in the ship. In a small confined space, which is reminiscent of Alien, you have this tension conflict with this horror element involved in it. Now Captain Janek, another character who's not really developed, has a role. Now maybe he's on a mission with the flamethrower to find Holloway, who's hiding out in the ship, killing off the crew one by one. Captain Janek, played by Idris Elba, has a role now. He's not just hanging out on the deck, having sex, looking at 3D maps. He has an action role that's going to flesh him out as a real person. And the audience relates more to Captain Janek than other characters because he's the voice of the audience. At one scene, he's talking to Shaw when he says, this is a mistake of coming here because this is just an alien weapons facility. It's not their home. It's pointless in coming here, so let's just leave. And that's Janek, Captain Janek, who's speaking through the audience, because that's what we're thinking. We're like, okay, this was never an invitation. This was never a invitation to come to this alien moon because there's nothing there. There's no life there. It's just that. It's just alien weapons. And Janek says this where he's speaking for us. So you have tension between Janek, Holloway, zombie Holloway, tension between Sean Vickers, alien squid, and now back at the caves you could have David, who stays behind with Fifield and Milburn, because the storm, you have the storm in the movie, the storm comes in, a silicon dust storm that comes in, that cuts off communication, and they can't leave the cave until the next day. So David's trapped in the cave with Fifield, Milburn, maybe another or two other minor characters, and have David go to work and doing what he does, whatever he's going to do to Fifield and Milburn. Now, you could set this up, so David comes out the next day by himself. Fifield and Milburn are dead or long gone. We don't know what's happened to them. And David could give any story to the rest of the crew. Now that would, for the audience, that would be like, oh wow, who's David? Like, who's this guy? Is he? Maybe we don't even know he's an android at this point. But it creates the David character. It fleshes that character out. So by making Holloway Burke, we fixed Vickers, Shaw, Captain Janet, Holloway, you know, And Fifield and Milburn now, they don't have to die doing something silly by petting alien snakes. And David isn't just this android walking back and forth. Everything has a purpose by just fixing that one thing with Holloway, making Holloway a Burke instead of a love interest for Shaw. So at that point in the movie, the middle of the movie where Fifield and Milburn gets lost, which is silly, and I always thought it was silly from the first time I saw the movie. I was like, why are they getting lost? And it occurred to me that they only get lost because at that point the writers realized time is ticking in this movie. We have to have something happen. We have to have aliens. We have to have someone dying. We have to have some sort of conflict in the movie at that point. And Fifield and Milburn gets lost, which is silly. It's impossible for them to get lost in the realm of the story. But the writers make them get lost, and whatever happens, happens, and it's silly. I'm not going to go into that. Now, what happens in the cave in my scenario, with David being in the caves with Fifield, Milburn, the black goo, dead aliens, anything could happen. David could now experiment with the black goo and Fifield and Milburn. He's an android. He doesn't have to sleep. Fifield and Milburn, they're human. They get tired. They have to sleep. There you go. And that would take care of like all that. Now you have 3 scenes, 3 points of tension within the middle of the movie in like one big dramatic sort of pre-climactic scene. So, and that would work. Now the other thing I'm going to talk about is the end of the movie where the space jockey engineer is chasing Shaw after his ship crashes. He, for some reason, it's not really explained. I don't understand it. He wants to run after Shaw and comes after like some Frankenstein horror movie creature, B-movie creature, and he's like, and he's going after her, and he's trying to swing at her or hit her or punch her or whatever. It's really silly. Now what they should have done was just switch that around. Have Shaw, well, David tells Shaw over the the headphone mic or the helmet mic that, Shaw, look out, he's coming after you, the engineer is coming after you, be careful, whatever. David now just says, Shaw, he's going to another ship. You have to stop him. He's going to Earth to take the black goo to Earth. Now we have a better movie because Shaw now realizes, I have to go after this engineer guy to stop him and destroy his ship and maybe blow everything up that's maybe buried underground, like all the other ships. Now this would parallel Alien Resurrection, and Alien 3, Alien Resurrection, in that order. Now, in all those movies, the Ripley character, at the end of all those movies, she's blowing something up to stop basically to stop the alien xenomorph, or alien queen, from spreading throughout the universe or coming back to Earth. In all those movies, she blows up. I think the first movie, the Nostromo, she blows up. The second movie, she blows up LV-426, the atmospheric processing plant. She just nukes it from space. In Alien 3, she blows up the space prison thing. In one scene, she blows up the room or whatever. In Alien Resurrection, she crashes the gigantic spaceship military base thing into Earth to prevent aliens from spreading across Earth. So every movie, she blows something up. Just make Shaw do the same thing here. Shaw is already set up to be the new Ripley, so just make her do something Ripley would do at the end of every Alien movie. Blow something up, destroy something to stop this engineer guy from spreading the black goo or spreading whatever back to Earth. That's all they had to do at the end of the movie. And this would have set up a sequel for Prometheus, where she catches the engineer and she kills him, or they get into a struggle, and give the guy dialogue too. The engineer should have some sort of dialogue. I don't know why they didn't make him talk or communicate some sort of language to David or anyone. And he says something to her, and she realizes, oh my God, I have to go to his planet or his home planet, or I have to go somewhere else. And that creates questions, yeah, which is what Lindelof, the writers wanted. They wanted questions and mystery behind the movie. That would create a lot more mystery and questions that made more sense. Because now you have Shaw, now she has a purpose now to go to his planet. At the end of Prometheus, as we see it, she just wants to go there because she wants to see where they come from. I want to see where they come from. That's the only reason she wants to go there. And at this point in the movie, do we really care? No, we don't care. So why should Shaw care? You know, she probably will just want to go home at that point. Now, in my scenario with her chasing the engineer and killing him, and he's telling her something, that just creates more tension for a sequel. And in saying that, like, this movie maybe didn't really have to relate to Alien or be a prequel to Alien, because you have a good movie from what I'm explaining to you as is. And maybe you can lead into Alien even naturally instead of forcing it in that final scene where the xenomorph pops out of the engineer's chest, that was like forcing it on the audience, like, oh yeah, this is a prequel for Aliens because there is an alien in this movie. They should not have done that. It ended so silly, and I don't think Ridley Scott had anything to do with that final scene, to be honest. And those are the two things: fix the Holloway character and fix the ending chase scene where Shaw is chasing the engineer instead of an engineer chasing Shaw. The engineer chasing Shaw, you've seen before in a dozen horror movies, hundreds of horror movies, end that way, where the half-naked woman is being chased by the zombie creature or whatever. The same thing is happening here. Shaw is being chased by this guy who's trying to kill her. It's simple. We've seen it before. It's no tension in that. It's not exciting to watch again in 3D or IMAX 3. It's not exciting to watch that again. Just switch it around. Make Shaw go after this guy because he's going to another ship. He wants to complete his mission, which is in accord with what the movie is trying to say. So Shaw goes after and stops him. The movie is much better. We're looking forward to a sequel. Can't wait till Prometheus 2 comes out because it ended on that point. What we get is not that. What we get is, I don't know, something else, and it's not good. And I'm going to say it's not a good movie. It's entertaining to watch, yes. I did watch it 3 times. The first time I watched it, I loved it. Second time, I realized, what the hell was I thinking? The third time I saw it, I thought it was garbage. And I thought it was garbage because it had potential that could have been tweaked and fixed, with just those 2 things: Holloway's character becoming a Burke, and Shaw chasing the engineer instead of the engineer going after Shaw. And that's it. That's all I'm going to say for Prometheus ever again. That's the end of everything I'm going to say about that movie. And maybe Ridley Scott or one of the writers would see this, or the producers, and I'm willing to bet my house that Ridley Scott didn't have anything to do with that final alien chest bursting scene in Prometheus. But hopefully, I don't know. But that's everything I have to say about Prometheus, and I'm done. Bye.